Yo, how's it going, dudes and dudettes? This is, of course, your guy, Sugi Shogun here, and today I'm gonna be dropping out my first review of the year, and that will be out of an anime called The Idaten Deities no Only Peace, Heion Sedai no Idaten tachi. Now, this is originally based on a webcomic, which was later on adapted into a full seinen manga, and then obviously more recently into an anime. So it's a very similar story akin to Mob Psycho 100, One Punch Man, and obviously Korean manhwas like The God of High School, Tower of God, Noblesse, which all started out as web comics basically, and because they became so popular, the mainstream manga industry became interested, wanted to do their own mangas, and then obviously do anime, which was meant to basically sell off the manga. That's a great marketing strategy, and that's what they've been doing for a very long time. Now, also the good thing about it is, I don't think this trend is going to be leaving anytime soon, and the other benefit is that maybe perhaps in the webcomic industry, there are no guidelines which should be the things and the trends to go with. Right now, I think we're seeing a lot of oversaturation on the isekai stories, whatever they're based on, visual novels or mangas. I'm just seeing like over and over again similar types of stories being told on the seasonal anime that we get, and we see a very little type of innovation and new types of stories that often feel like very refreshing. Like Attack on Titan probably was the last one that kind of felt like, okay, we're doing something a bit more different here. And I think what I've been enjoying about these aforementioned things is that they are kind of bringing something new to the table, maybe artistically, or perhaps they just kind of like tone-wise and plot-wise are constructed in different ways than we are our mainstream stuff. Now, the Idaten Deities is a very similar constructs into Mob Psycho 100 and One Punch Man in the sense that there are a lot of characters which are very overpowered, and then there are characters that are very, very weak. And that is a lot of what this, plot line revolves around. So the main surface of the plot is like pretty bad. It's not like very unique or anything, but there's a way that it's constructed and portrayed from the perspectives of the two opposing sides kind of makes it a bit interesting. And I think the series and it gets like a lot better in the latter half of the season, which is only 11 episodes. So I think they were kind of testing the grounds here. Would there be any type of demand for this? But I think in terms of ratings at least, it has received, decent outcome. Now the plot is revolving around 800 years ago, demons attacked, mankind was almost wiped out, and then there are these, deities known as Idaten, which basically are godlike human-looking characters, and they wiped out the demons, and basically they sealed them off in this, type of thing. And these Idaten are also being born into the world, and now 800 years have passed since the demons were vanquished, and now these Idaten, most of them are not like even training or anything, they're just doing normal human stuff, and then they kind of like find out in the beginning episodes that the demons are back, and they are kind of like hidden away in the world, and then, the characters are, there to figure out how do we stop the demons, basically. And you have a couple of different, Idaten here. You had the Hayato, which is kind of like the hotshot character. He's not technically the main character here. Isli is probably the most main character out of the Idaten. He's a very analytical guy. He's very like neutral all the same time. You don't really know, is he a good guy or is he a bad guy really? He's pretty weak as an Idaten goes because he hasn't done a lot of training, but he's super analytical. He thinks about these things and the motives and everything like that. And the latter half of the season basically goes into a lot of that mind game stuff where the opposing sides of the demons and the Idaten are basically thinking out what will be their next strategy and moving on. And it's a lot about like, there's going to be a lot of happening in things on the macro level, like the wars, killing of people, the breeding, all this type of stuff. It's very macro, but they don't really care about it. They have this sort of god type of a grand scale of things. They look only at the very, very outcome, though. They don't really concern themselves about these micro things like humans dying on the ground, like this is just a casualty of the war. And it's really about the big game, the big chess game that is being played out. A lot about the Basically, Miku is kind of one of the demons, which is very lived type of a character. So there are some sexual themes here. There's a lot of brutality too as well. So people's, heads, hands, legs will be decapitated. There will be stranglings. There will be even a rape scene. But it's not the most obscene and the most violent thing that I've ever seen. I think it's kind of taking a bit of a dark comedy angle into a lot of the killings, and I think that makes it a bit more lightweight and easier to watch. And I think it's not like it's not like overly violent that I would say. I think the dark comedy aspect kind of makes it fun. Or not really fun is not the way I would use. I don't find this anime like funny or at all. I just kind of was drawn into perhaps in the mind game, the analytical stuff. I think that was the thing, the hook that got me interested in this anime overall, because in the beginning it felt like this is just a random, demon fighting anime where people are over, one-shotting demons with the one like fist or something like that. And that's what it felt like in the beginning, but then it started to like construct itself into a bit more complex thing. And, the humans have their religion stuff, and, and it's not like displaying or looking into what are things moral, how the Idaten should be dealing with the humans and stuff like that. That relationship is not really a lot of explored. It's just really about survival, I guess. In the end, the Idaten trying to defeat the demons, and instead of like making a peace or anything. I don't know how the story is going to be like developing as more time goes on. There's a couple of time skips, but they don't really affect a lot of the characters' appearance that much, because I guess the Idaten actually don't age at all. They don't actually age, so they are looking the same. The demons will obviously age, at least the humanoid demons. Art-wise, I thought, I was kind of going for this sort of a weird pop art thing, kind of similar to what JoJo does, but JoJo kind of does it like, in certain segments or gasp scenes, and then they change the colors, and that's kind of like artistic. But in here, I just felt like, okay, is this some type of weird artistic thing that they do, or is this like saving money on coloring certain scenes? Like, it wasn't very pretty to look at, but luckily these are not like majority of the scenes or anything, but there's just a couple of scenes, 2-minute segments where the colors are switched off or reversed or something like that. I don't think it's aesthetically that nice to look. It's actually gets a bit on your head when things are really too monotone, to be honest. I've seen a couple of anime do this before, and I can't really say that this is like something that looks good to me. Now, let's finally talk about the last part, which is the OST. Now, OST, pretty forgettable. Absolutely forgettable, actually. The opening song, kind of forgettable too. It was, I guess, decentish. Still, the opening, the animation that they did there kind of reminds me of Mob Psycho 100 a bit. I think they were kind of stealing that. Mob Psycho Season 2 opening, if I remember right. But, it was decent, I guess. And will I watch another season if it continues? Well, I think I would say yes. It's a bit different. It's still like when I talk about overpowered characters. Mob Psycho 100 is more comedic. One Punch Man is more comedic than this one. And they don't really necessarily have this very analytical side of things, which was probably the main draw point here for Idaten. Like, in the beginning, it looks very lame, and it doesn't really, like, hook you in. But I think a couple of episodes in, when you start to, like, theorize about things, and then it gets a bit more interesting, I would argue. But that's obviously, there's going to be different strokes for different people. So, who knows? It maybe appeal to me, and maybe it doesn't appeal to you. But it will remain to be seen. Will it see another season? I think there should be enough source material. The original webcomic is in hiatus while the which started in 2008. The manga is still ongoing, which was started in 2018. So I don't know where we at. I would argue, and I think that we are not having everything adapted as of right now out of the material that exists. But thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews for the year. I'm going to be pushing out them a lot more. I know I've been a bit inactive, but that's just work stuff coming in, and so much time, taken by that. Thanks for watching. See you soon.